drama. I can't even trust my own mama, so I'm riding around town with the llama. Bitch, we about to drama. I can't even trust my own mama, so I'm riding around town with the llama. Bitch, we about to drama. Drop the addy, I'ma put love. Bitch, drop the addy, I'ma put love. Bitch, we about to drama. Drop the addy, I'ma put love. Bitch, drop the addy, I'ma put love. Bitch, we about to drama.
What it do, what it do? It's your boy Cinco bandzz, man. Trying to get 100 grand, man. Hope you understand, man. Hey, man, what it do, man? Welcome back, y'all. Top of the mañanas. If you're on your way to work, if you're on your way to your little, you know. I appreciate you for tuning in. And if you're a late bloomer and you ain't catching it live, I appreciate you too for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do that right there. Yeah. Hey, man. We ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna get straight to it. Look, Fuji, everybody know Gucci had 2 artists left. He dumped everybody off the label. He only kept Foogiano and Pooh Shiesty. The whole world already know what happened to Pooh Shiesty right now. You know what I'm saying? All he have left is Foogiano. And he just got released. But he hasn't spoke on the situation, so we don't know how Foogiano feels. We don't know if Foogiano, what he gonna do. You know, he branched off from Authentic Empire to 1017 with Gucci. You know, he was with Boomin'. And you know, Boomin' had a whole nother situation over here. So he got to pick. You know what I'm saying? And without further ado, man, we're going to get straight into it. I want to see it just like y'all want to see it. Hit me up in the comments. Drop me a like. Drop me a hype, you know, so I can keep pushing. It helps me in the algorithm. You know, it don't cost you nothing to support and show some love. You feel me? Yeah, we're going to keep this Tendernizm going. Yes, all right, man, without further ado, let's get straight to it.
Foogiano, released from prison, served 4 years. The last artist left on the 1017. Everybody's either dead or in jail, literally.
Yeah, man.
Or released.
Yeah, man, it's a cold game, man. Dead or in jail, man. Dead or in jail, man.
He was one of the 2 artists that Gucci decided to keep. Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano, of course. He's been released.
Let's keep it real. He's the only 2 artists that Gucci decided to keep. They were the only 2 artists that Gucci was making some money off of. Everybody else wasn't recouping. That's what they call it, recouping. Nobody else was recouping. I don't even think Fuji and them recouped, but they had motion. You feel me?
The internet's going crazy.
Foogiano just touched down from 5 years in federal prison, and the very first thing this...
Damn, and it don't even seem like 5 years. Hey, let me see the key. He be having it popping. Fuji be having it popping. He jigging with that shit. You feel me? I fuck with him. Salute Foogiano, man. Welcome back. Hey, man. It didn't even seem like 5 years, man. He went and walked that down.
This man did was send a chilling message directly to Gucci Mane. Y'all need to hear this. Not a subliminal, not a vague Instagram post. A message, cold, calculated, and timed to perfection. Because Foo didn't come home to a normal situation. He came home to a label that is on fire. His CEO allegedly just got robbed and held at gunpoint by his own artist, Pooh Shiesty. There are federal kidnapping charges on the table. There is a diss track in the streets called Crash Dummy. And now Gucci's last man standing just walked out of prison with 5 years of silence built up and something to say. The timing on this is not a coincidence, gang. Foogiano has been sitting in a cell watching his idol.
Now, question. We don't know what's about to happen, right? But do y'all think Foogiano should have responded with a tweet, with a message, or should he have responded in a song? I think a song, he would have profited off the song. He might still respond in the song, you know what I'm saying? But I think he should have did that first. But let's see.
The same man he grew up listening to, the same man who signed him and gave him his first real shot, become the most controversial figure in hip-hop right now. And the moment those prison doors opened, Foo stepped into a situation that is way deeper than rap. So let me break it all down for y'all from the beginning, because to understand what Foogiano's message means, you have to understand exactly what he came home to. And once you see the full picture, that message is going to hit different. Real quick, for anyone who doesn't know, Foogiano's government name is Kwame Khalil Brown, born July 4th, 1993 out of Greensboro, Georgia. And Greensboro ain't Atlanta, ain't Memphis, ain't no major city. This is small town Georgia, where the streets are tight and everybody knows everybody, and the only ways out are music, sports, or crime. Foo found all three at some point. By the time he was 12 years old, Foo's whole world shifted. His uncle came home from prison and dropped a bomb on him. The man he thought was his father was actually his stepfather. From that moment, Foo said he went straight to the hood. And once you go street at 12 in a small Georgia town, the system finds you fast. In 2013, he caught burglary and robbery charges. 2014, he got sentenced. Served 3 years. That was bid number.
Damn, that changed my nigga life. His uncle got out the pen and told him, that ain't your real daddy. And changed my nigga life. Damn. He went straight to the street. And I understand that too. And ladies, this goes to y'all. Y'all gotta stop lying to these kids. Stop hiding shit from these kids. Stop feeling like, oh, they kids, they don't need to be in my business. Stop doing that, because over time you just let that shit sit and they just go, and that becomes their reality. So now it's their reality, and when they find out their reality was a lie, they feel betrayed. It ain't even the fact that you lied, because you've lied plenty of times throughout their life. It's the fact that you lied about their reality. They trying to find out who they are, and you're lying. Ladies, we got to be transparent with these children. I start talking to my kids now. I used to be like that. I used to be like, do what I say, because I said it. I'm your daddy. I'm the law. But I had to start thinking like, man, my mom and pops used to do that shit to me and I didn't like it. I used to do shit and I didn't know why. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now I start explaining to my children, even from the babies. When I tell them no, I tell them why I'm telling them no. I explain to them why they can't do what I'm telling them they can't do. I'm not just telling them don't do it. I ain't leaving a blank spot, because that's curiosity. When you leave that blank spot, you leaving the curiosity for them to wonder. And I don't want them to wonder. I want them to know. Don't do this shit. You feel me? But back to the script.
For one. But here's what you have to understand about Foo. He never let that stop his momentum. He came back out, started taking music serious, and the talent was undeniable. His single, Molly, Baby Mama, started making noise in 2020. Real organic buzz, not manufactured, not label pushed initially, just real street records connecting with real people. DaBaby hopped on the remix. That's when the industry started paying attention. And who was watching closer than anyone? Gucci Mane, the architect of Atlanta trap music. The man who discovered more street talent than almost any executive in the...
Turns out you should never sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you rocking with the best, man. If you rocking with the content so far, drop me a like, man. Show some support.
Foogiano to 1,017 records in 2020 and immediately gave him the platform. November 2020, Foo's debut album, Gutta Baby, dropped, and it debuted at #1 on Billboard's Heat Seekers albums chart. Out the gate, first album, #1. This was a career on a rocket ship, fam. And then December 2020 happened. December 2020. Foo gets arrested in Georgia on possession of a firearm by a convicted felon charge. Because he had a prior felony, Remember those 2013 charges? Having a gun at all was a federal violation. The judge set bail at $50,000 and put 2 conditions on his release. 1, wear an ankle monitor. 2, stay inside the state of Georgia. Now, most people would hear those conditions and say, bet, let me keep my head down, handle my business legally, and wait for this to resolve.
So we're talking about Foogiano, the Atlanta-based rapper whose real name is Kwame Brown, is represented by Gucci Mane. Take a look. This is a...
My nigga named Kwame Brown. Why are you named after Kwame Brown, bro? Damn. That's crazy, bro. I fuck with you, Fuji. Hey, listen. I'm gonna act like I didn't hear that. How you named after Kwame Brown, bro? Not Kwame Brown, bro. Damn. The nigga with the most hype that let the world down. You named after this nigga. The nigga that couldn't take Michael Jordan's criticism and treatment. You named after that nigga. The country nigga that gets on the internet and acts like he's for the people, but then turns into a nigga instantly. You named after that nigga. That's crazy.
Booking photo just in. U.S. Marshals now say they tracked down the 27-year-old in Memphis last week. They tell us they had been trying to find him for 3 months after he apparently melted off his court-ordered ankle monitor, and they tried to track him down there. At last check, Brown is now being held in a jail.
He melted it off. Nigga damn near burnt his foot off. You didn't use the plastic bag trick, bro. You don't know the plastic bag trick? This nigga down there burnt his ankle off. He probably got scars.
In Memphis, we've also learned he's part of an ongoing wrongful death lawsuit stemming from a fatal shooting that happened at a nightclub in South Carolina.
That is the logical move. That is the safe move. Foogiano said, no cap, I don't care. He burned the ankle monitor off. Like literally melted it off his body. Didn't just cut it, burned it. And then he ran. Left Georgia entirely. Went on the run for 3 months. And here's the part that will always hit different when you hear it. While Foo was on the run, he was still performing. Still doing shows under his real name. He used to ask the crowd every night, if the police come in here, are y'all going to let them get me? And the crowd would go crazy saying no. He was moving on pure confidence, pure street energy. Playing chess, he said, not checkers, but the feds don't play crowd games, gang. In March 2021, federal agents caught up with Foogiano in Memphis, Tennessee. 3 months on the run, and it ended in Memphis. May 2021, he was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. 5 years for the gun charge combined with the ankle monitor removal and the fugitive situation.
Ryan Brown here from J. Ryan Brown Law. We're going to talk about rapper Foogiano's 5-year prison sentence that he apparently was given in Greene County, Georgia yesterday, and talk about a little bit of circumstances surrounding that. Now, we don't have access to the official court documents right now, so we are kind of basing this off just grassroots level information that is being passed around. But it does appear that there's a lot of talk about him getting 5 years for removing an ankle monitor or something like that. But it also seems that he had a possession of a firearm by a convicted felon charge. And from our perspective as criminal defense attorneys here in Georgia, I think that that is what likely led to the 5-year prison sentence. So recently there was a case in Georgia that
Listen, that's for sure what led to it. For sure. And I ain't seen no papers or nothing. Because they trip off of felons with firearms. You're looking at a person who's charged with felon with firearm. They trip. They gave me 6 years. And it wasn't in the feds. So the feds showed them some love. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know. They didn't really show them no love though. Because I had a little more action even though I got sentenced to more time. Because my possession of a firearm, as long as you're not using that firearm in the commission of a crime, you just possessing it, your time ends up being half time. So you end up doing Out of that 6, you end up doing 3 and 6 months. So you do end up getting a better deal. So you end up getting sentenced to a year more, but doing a year less than Fuji. So because the feds want they 85%, you're doing 85%. Mandatory. You're doing it. Ain't no halftime in the feds, as far as I heard. It might be new, but ain't no halftime in the feds. You know what I'm saying? That's the only bad part about the feds, is no halftime. But the conditions are better, the treatment's better, all that, but it's no halftime. And they can ship you anywhere in America because it's federal. When it's state, they can ship you anywhere in the state. You see what I'm saying? You can go anywhere in the state. They can ship you to the other edge of the state that you never even knew of. But they can't take you out the state. At some point, they were dealing with overcrowding, and they came in with paperwork and to every cell, and niggas were signing up, and they were going to different states because different states had like PlayStations in their cell and all that. So you coming from a cellar. This motherfucker's like a cellar. It's horrible. I don't know if you've ever seen any, if you pay attention and look at some of these content creators that's in jail, they try to cover the walls and shit with towels and cover the little cubbies with towels and shit. But they covering it with towels because you think they covering it with towels just because of the graffiti. No, they covering it with towels because it looks horrible. It's like a cellar. It's horrible conditions, man. Just breathing the air in there, you can get sick. It's horrible. So, out of state had better conditions, so they were signing up left and right to go out of state. You know, I wasn't an out of state type of person at that time. At that time, I was an interstate person. I hadn't broadened my horizon at that time. I was straight local. I was what you would call a hood guy. You know what I'm saying? All I knew was the hood. All I wanted to know was the hood and everything like that. But, you know, as you grow, you wisen up and stuff. But, hopefully, you know, because sometimes you can get too deep. But in the feds got ice machines, feds got microwaves. Feds conditions is a little better. You know what I'm saying? So, well, a lot better from what I've heard. Everybody that came down from the feds and came back to the state hated the state. They would talk about how good you know. So I would hear these stories and be like, damn, the feds is fire, low key. Like, I would have rather went to the feds. But then when I heard about the 85, I'm like, oh hell no. Oh hell to the no. As much time as I've received in my life, if I would have gotten 85% most of that time, boy, y'all would have never knew of me, boy. What do you mean? But anyway, let's keep going.
With possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
His girlfriend at the time, Rennie Rucci, went to Instagram immediately. You know what it is with me, I got us, #FreeFood.
Shout out to Rennie Rucci. I don't know if she, you know, fell off or anything, but she been holding it down from what I seen, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to her, salute, she's a runner.
Meek Mill posted about it, calling for his freedom, saying they were trying to kill this man's career for trying to protect himself. Gucci Mane said publicly he was on top of it and was going to get Fu the best lawyers. And then the prison doors closed, 2021, and Foogiano went silent for 5 years. But the world kept...
Listen, the best lawyers in the world can't get you off of a felon with a firearm in the feds. The best lawyers in the world cannot get you off of a felon in possession of a firearm in the feds. I don't care what you pay him, who he is. It's not happening. He's a felon, and he was in possession of a firearm. It's it. That's it. Unless If you wasn't in possession of that firearm, it was a technicality, then you got action. But like, nigga, if you were in possession of that firearm and you were a felon, curtains.
Kept moving, and what it moved into is the craziest chapter in 1017 history. Y'all need to understand just how much the 1017 roster changed while Foogiano was incarcerated, because when...
And I'm gonna tell you like this, man. It ain't enough Tendernizm in him. Gucci ain't got enough Tendernizm at 1016. I put the Tendernizm in 1016.
Foo went in, 1017 was one of the hottest labels in rap. Pooh Shiesty had dropped Back in Blood and was genuinely one of the biggest new artists in the country. Big Scar was that secret weapon Gucci kept teasing. Enchanting was cooking. The whole wave was rolling. Then the bottom fell out, one by one. Pooh Shiesty caught his own gun charge in October 2021 and ended up with a 5-year sentence.
Rapper Pooh Shiesty is fake.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
Sorry.
Facing prison time after pleading guilty to a gun charge in Miami federal court. The case against Lontrell Williams Jr. stems from 3 shootings during...
Hey, you rocking with the best Cinco, bandzz, the man, most valuable podcast. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. You already know what it do. Drop me a hype. Yeah, if you just now tuning in, I appreciate you showing the love. You know what I'm talking about? It don't cost you nothing.
The past 2 years, 2 of them happening right here in South Florida.
Big Scar died in December 2022 at only 23 years old.
Rapper Big Scar has died. This is what was posted by rapper Gucci Mane on his Instagram page. It shows a picture of Big Scar along with the caption that reads, "This hurts. I'm going to miss you." We are hearing the rapper died today. He was signed to Gucci Mane's label.
Enchanting passed away in June 2024. The new 1017 went from being a dynasty in the making to a tragedy in motion. Label after label in hip-hop has had rough patches, but this was different. This felt like the universe was targeting this specific roster. By October 2024, Gucci Mane got on Instagram Live and made a business announcement. He said he looked at his profit and loss statements and made a hard decision. He was dropping almost every artist on 1017 except for 2. Pooh Shiesty, who was finishing up his sentence, and Foogiano, who still had time left. Everybody else got cut loose. Here's what Gucci said verbatim. "I'm going to have to release almost all of my artists except Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano. This is a decision."
Pooh Shiesty and Pooh Shiesty. It's crazy. Pooh Shiesty and Pooh Shiesty. Hold on, I gotta run that back. Pooh Shiesty and
Almost all of my artists except Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano. This is a decision. Enchanting passed away in June 2024. The new 1017 went from being a dynasty in the making to a tragedy in motion. Label after label in hip-hop has had rough patches, but this was different. This felt like the universe was targeting this specific roster. By October 2024, Gucci Mane got on Instagram Live and made a business announcement. He said he looked at his profit and loss statements and made a hard decision. He was dropping almost every artist on 1017 except for 2. Pooh Shiesty, who was finishing up his sentence, and
Pooh Shiesty. Pooh Shiesty, who was finishing up his sentence. This is crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm silly.
Foogiano, who still had time left. Everybody else got cut loose. Here's what Gucci said verbatim. "I'm going to have to release almost all of my artists except Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano. This is a decision I didn't want to make. I thought about it. I could keep all of them under contract. But I said, hey, fuck it. Let's just make the unselfish decision and let them take their talents elsewhere."
Hey, what's up, y'all? Listen, I wanted to make this announcement on 1017 yesterday, but I just seen like my statement, my P&L with all my artists. You know, it's almost like a whole bunch of shake-up and it's a whole shit show in the industry right now. But when I look at my P&L and me being a businessman, I think that I'm gonna have to release almost all my artists except for Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano. This is a decision I didn't want to make. I thought about it, you know what I'm saying? I can keep all of them under the contract. But I said, hey, fuck it. Let's just make the unselfish decision and, let them take their talents elsewhere. So,
sounds clean, right? Sounds like a boss move. Sounds like Gucci being a bit...
an unselfish decision. Now, when have you ever heard of a businessman not making a selfish decision? That don't even make sense. Come on, y'all. That don't even make sense. Business and not making a selfish decision don't make sense. Because you got to be selfish in business in order to succeed. And by him saying that, I don't want to be selfish, make the selfish decision. What? Nigga just say they not making enough money. And I'm keeping the 2 cash cows. Because that's what the fuck you did. These artists and celebrities are too political, man. Keep it real with us. Drop some Tendernizm in that, man.
Businessman. But here's where it gets crazy. The 2 artists he kept, the 2 he said were the only ones making him money, the only ones worth investing in, were both sitting in prison at the time he said this. And within 6 months of Pushisti getting out, everything exploded in a way that nobody could have predicted. January 10th, 2026, Luminous Studios, far north Dallas, Texas. Gucci Mane thought he was going to a business meeting. He had been going back and forth with Pooh Shiesty about contract issues. Shiesty had been complaining about wanting out of 1017.
This man, they called this man 4 different names in one video. But he finally got it right.
Contract disputes that had been simmering for a while. And from what prosecutors allege, Pooh Shiesty's father, Lontrell Williams Sr., had actually gone to a Staples beforehand to print out a contract release form, the paperwork to officially get Shiesty out of his deal. They lured Gucci
And look, I understand you're trying to help your son, bro. But you're an idiot, man. Why the fuck would you do that? You could have got him a lawyer. Oh, you couldn't afford a lawyer. So you did the only thing you could do with some street shit, bro. This is crazy, man. This is bad leadership resulting in bad offsprings. That's what it was. Bad leadership resulting in bad offsprings. Pooh Shiesty is a bad offspring, bro. He wasn't led the right way. He had all the potential in the world if he was led the right way.
His associates to that studio under the pretense of a business meeting to resolve the situation. What happened once they got inside was not a business meeting. According to the federal indictment, 9 people were involved.
The complaint alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims.
Once the victims were inside the studio, Pooh Shiesty allegedly produced an AK-style pistol and held someone at gunpoint, forcing them to sign the contract release form. Big 30, whose real...
Someone? It's only one person got his contract in control of his contract. And that's Gucci. So he held a Drake to Gucci? Whoa! Whoa! He had a Drake to Gucci? Oh my God. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. Even if he beat this, which he's not, ain't no record label signing him. You put a Draco to your label's owner's head. Do you understand what that means? Like, I mean, CMG probably will sign you. Because he gonna have somebody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He ain't tripping. That's probably the only one that'll sign him or Birdman. They ain't tripping. Boy, they got thousands and thousands of soldiers. This is crazy, man. The Drake.
Real name is Rodney Wright Jr., allegedly used his body to physically barricade the studio door so nobody could escape.
And that's a big body. If he used his body so nobody could escape, that's a big body. Big 30? Trust me, the big and 30 is for a reason.
The victim was choked to the point of near unconsciousness. Others had Rolex watches, jewelry, and cash taken from them at gunpoint. The DOJ called it an armed takeover.
As alleged, Once these three men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover. As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items. One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness. Defendant Wright barricaded the studio door with his body to prevent the victims from escaping.
Surveillance footage, license plate data, fingerprint evidence, and cell phone records all alleged.
Choke to unconsciousness is attempted murder. I'm sorry to tell you. Choke to unconsciousness is attempted murder. This guy, man. Listen, man. Kids, young men, young women, it's not worth it, bro. What? This math is not mathing. What in the hell? He was getting money. Okay, if you getting money, you have a channel to take care of your people. I know you're under a shitty contract, but you're still able to get some money. You're still able to have that channel, bro. You fucked the whole channel up trying to get more. And that be the problem. You can't sacrifice everything for your benefit. That's what it is.
Linked the suspects to the scene. And here's the detail that sealed it. Pooh Shiesty was supposed to be on house arrest at the time. His electronic monitoring device showed he was not at home. He left his location, traveled from Memphis to Dallas, allegedly committed this robbery and kidnapping.
Another thing, and that lets you know his IQ is not that high. He got an ankle monitor on, and he going to do some stuff with an ankle monitor on. And guess what? I got some people that I know that have done that before in life, back in the day, years, maybe over 20 years ago. But they thought that shit was cool. That shit seemed cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably think that was cool. Yeah, man, ankle monitor or not, nigga, do my stuff. Man, I stand on business. No, you standing on a prison floor. That's what you standing on. What the fuck? Like, your family needed you. Your family needed you to stand on business. Your lineage, the people that count that's going to be here, that's going to hold your legacy, they needed you to stand on business. And what you do? Blew it all up.
And went back.
The charging document outlines some of the evidence, just some, establishing the defendant's roles in the federal offense. This is as follows. Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location, which would put him in violation of his home detention conditions. Cell phone records and license plate reader data corroborating the coordinated travel of multiple defendants from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas. Rental car records confirming Williams Sr. rented a vehicle that was used by the group. Surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several of the defendants stayed following the offense. Fingerprint evidence as well that was recovered from the crime scene, matching at least 2 of the defendants.
The federal government moved fast. Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, Shiesty's father, and 6 more people were all charged with federal kidnapping, a charge that carries a maximum sentence of life in federal prison.
This week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas. 8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who are charged and arrested include
Man, Pooh Shiesty finna get 20-something years. When Pooh Shiesty get out, Northwest is gonna be the new Taylor Swift. Crazy.
Lontrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty. Lontrell Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30. Kadarius Waters, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested yet, but will be soon.
That's not even the crazy part, fam. That's not even the crazy part. In early April 2026, during Pooh Shiesty's bond hearing in a Dallas federal court, FBI Special Agent Pamela Hansen testified under oath, and Mr. Spiffo Made It posted a selfie on his Instagram story with Foogiano and wrote simply, "No more free Foo." Foo's personal photographer confirmed it on his own story. "Stay free, welcome home, Foo." The photo that circulated, shared by No Jumper and picked up everywhere, showed Foogiano smiling, flashing those grills. Grills, by the way, that he famously kept even while incarcerated. In a BBC documentary filmed while he was in jail, he revealed he had a permanent $100,000 grill that never left his mouth. Even in county jail back home in Greensboro, he said those are his people. Those are the guards he grew up with. That smile with those grills is a statement in itself. Foo didn't come home broken. He came home the same. But the internet didn't just celebrate. The internet immediately started doing math. Because look at what Foogiano walked into. His label's CEO just allegedly got robbed and kidnapped by his own label mate. The other artist on the roster, the man who came home 6 months before Foo, is now sitting in federal custody facing potential life in prison. Gucci dropped a diss track calling people crash dummies. The internet is debating whether Gucci is a snitch. 1017 Records is in genuine crisis. And Foogiano, he is now the last 1017 artist standing. The only one on the roster who is free, alive, and not under indictment. Some people in the comments saw it immediately. One fan wrote, "Rob 2 on the way." Another said, "Let's see how this goes." Someone else wrote, "Out of everybody who got fucked up in 1017, he might be the one who gets blessed." And then there was this comment that stuck with people. "Free Foo from 1017 before he send his cartel friends to come get you." That last one, that's where the energy gets interesting. Here's the real tea, gang. Foogiano's message to Gucci Mane was not a diss record. It wasn't a tweet. It wasn't an Instagram post. The message was the timing itself. The message was the silence. 5 years of sitting in federal prison, watching everything happen, not saying a single word publicly, and then coming home on April 21st, 2026, exactly 12 days after Gucci dropped Crash Dummy. Exactly 11 days after the FBI testified that Gucci talked to the police in the middle of the most chaotic moment in 1017 history. The message is, I'm here. I watched everything and I'm still standing. Let me break this down deeper because people are sleeping on how loaded this situation actually is. Think about this from Foogiano's perspective, fam. He is a man who burned an ankle monitor off his body rather than comply. A man who performed shows while on the run and asked crowds to protect him from police. A man who, when interviewed in jail by journalist Louis Theroux for a BBC documentary, looked into the camera and said, "I don't listen to nothing none of y'all say. I do what I want to do. Why y'all lie to me? You don't get to pick my life for me. Now I'm going to pick my own life." That is not a man who responds to pressure by softening. That is not a man who comes home and quietly asks Gucci for a meeting. That energy that took 5 years to build up in a federal prison cell, that energy has a direction now. And the direction is directly at the situation Gucci Mane has created. Here's what's critical to understand about the street politics of this moment. Foogiano grew up idolizing Gucci Mane. He said in interviews that Gucci was one of his favorite rappers alongside T.Y. and Lil Wayne. Gucci was the reason he wanted to do this, and Gucci gave him the opportunity that changed his life. That relationship has real depth and real loyalty in it. But Foo also just served 5 years while watching Gucci's entire operation fall apart. Big Scar is dead. Enchanting is dead. Pooh Shiesty went in, came out, and allegedly robbed the boss at gunpoint. Gucci cooperated with the feds. Gucci dropped a diss track calling his artist a crash dummy. Every person Gucci brought into his orbit has either died, gone to prison, or been cut loose. And now Gucci has one man left, Foo. And Foo just came home to a label that is, by any objective measure, a disaster. The chilling part of Foogiano's message is not aggression. Real ones understand this. The chilling part is the question his return puts on the table that nobody has publicly asked yet. What does Foogiano do now? Does he ride with Gucci through all of this chaos? Does he stay on 1017 and be the face of a label that the streets currently view with serious suspicion? Does he take the route Pushisti allegedly took, except smarter, except without federal kidnapping charges? Or does he carve out a lane entirely separate from Gucci and use his 5 years of prison credibility to rebuild from scratch? That photo, that smile, those grills, that energy, is not the face of a man who is about to quietly fall in line. That is the face of a man who has been thinking for 1,825 days and has a plan. And the streets know it. That's why the comments went the way they did. The fans who have been watching 1017 crumble aren't looking at Foogiano's return as just a rapper coming home. They're looking at it as the last wild card being played in a game that already lost 3 players.
Hey man, let me know what y'all think about Foogiano and them comments about the cartel coming to get Gucci if you don't let them go. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's your boy Cinco, bandzz, man. Trying to get 100 grand. Tendernizm, Mike, is the plan. But until the next one, y'all have a blessed one.
I can't even trust my own mama, so I'm riding around town